Shall I start?
Yes.
Okay. Only 36 or 40 participants are there.
No problem.
Okay.
It's increasing, Archana.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here with us today. I, Dr. Archana R, IQAC coordinator of Sri Balaji Medical College and Hospital, take immense pleasure in welcoming all of you. I extend my warm welcome to our guest speakers for the 3 days, Mr. Lindon Johnson, Mrs. Vasanthi Ranganathan, and Mrs. Uma Shri Raghunath. I also welcome our Dean, Dr. W.M.S. Johnson, Mrs. Vinodini Monica, HR Head, professors, colleagues, students, and each and every one present to the webinar series. I quote, "You are the masterpiece of your life," I unquote. These lines were taken from the famous book, The Secret. During these testing times, there's a remarkable change in our daily life, not just for us, but also for people all around the world. From one moment to another, everything has changed. The financial situation has worsened. During these challenging times, we need to be together. We need to use this terrible scene and utilize our time to grow and become stronger and realize the purpose of ourselves and well-being. I welcome all of you once again for these 3 days of webinar series. Thank you. Now, I request our Dean, Dr. W.M.S. Johnson, to give the inaugural address.
Thank you, Dr. Archana. Respected IQAC coordinator, Professor Archana, head of the HR department of Sri Balaji Medical College, Mrs. Vinodini, beloved invited speaker, Mr. Lindon Johnson, faculty, respected faculty members of Sri Balaji Medical College, faculty from other colleges, students, and dear friends. It gives me great pleasure to inaugurate the 3 days webinar series organized by the IQAC of Sri Balaji Medical College and also the HR department as a part of in-service training to the faculty members. The conference or the webinar series has been so designed that it will improve your overall personality. Personality is an all-round character definition, and we are starting with the apt topic, time management. All the 3 speakers who have been chosen by the HR team and the internal quality assurance cell are all renowned in their own field, and I am sure all the participants will enjoy the guest lectures to be delivered on all these 3 days. I congratulate the IQAC team and the HR team for efficiently putting forth this 3-day webinar series, and I wish the 3 days program a grand success. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Mrs. Vinodini Monica, HR Head, to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Lindon Johnson.
Thank you, Archana. Hi, all of you. I'm so glad to give a brief introduction about our speaker for today's session. He is Mr. Lindon Johnson, a mathematics graduate with a Cisco certification in network administration and also in Lotus Domino administration. He has implemented firewall for an international NGO called World Vision India and also a few other countries in Asia. In his role as knowledge management head, he has implemented cyber security system and applications and has also implemented knowledge management system for World Vision India. He has held responsibilities for business process re-engineering and improvement for organizational effectiveness. He has conceived, designed, developed, and implemented community-based mobile solutions, and he comes with an experience of 28 years with various IT-related roles. I'm so glad to give this brief introduction about the speaker. Over to you, Mr. Lindon.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you all. I thank Dr. Johnson, Dean of Balaji Medical College, and Dr. Archana for organizing this, and Mrs. Vinodini for inviting me to be part of this seminar, and other doctors and other students and other faculty who are part of this. I think the topic which has been selected and given is very appropriate in this time, where security in terms of personal security, in terms of extending to technology, the cyber security is very appropriate that we talk on this subject. And also the heading of the series, you are the masterpiece of your life. I think that's I like that topic very much, because in the period where personality, characters, people have almost taken sort of a backseat, and things like status, money, so many other things have taken the front seat. But I think the course coordinators and people responsible for choosing this have been very intentional and sensitive in choosing this, in giving more focus to the person, not the the capacity of the person, not the status of the person. More than that, me as a person who has an identity. So I think here is where we have got a wonderful topic to deal with, where we should be able to know who I am. Basically, I am the masterpiece. It is not somebody else who is going to be influencing my life. More than that, I am the person. So first of all, I need to focus on myself. But that doesn't mean that I have to be selfish. But of course, that I need to know my values. I need to know who I am. I need to why I'm made for. Also, I need to know for what I exist in this universe. Even though as we talk about technology, we say this world is a global village. Even though we are part of a village, but still, there is an identity. So based on that, probably the topic what is given to me is in terms of cyber security. So when you talk about cyber security, okay, that means why does this word security come in place is because I feel insecure. Okay, when I feel insecure, that is when I talk about where are the places where I am insecure. Okay, where are the places where I am vulnerable? That is where we talk about. When I talk about the strength, immediately we look into, okay, to build my strength, what are my weaknesses? Okay, so similar way, when we talk about security, why should we have security at all? As in the introduction, like as I told you in the beginning, that personality, person, as per se person, I have my identity, which cannot be lost by any means, which cannot be compromised on any means. When I am a person, I am a personality, be it in my home, be it in my workplace, be it in the society, be it in wherever we are. I have to have my identity very clear, and I have to be safeguarding my identity. That is where we talk about security of myself. When we go out in a crowd, we see to that we are secure. For example, if there is some signboard we immediately read the signboard and get to know the information. Why? Based on this signboard, do I need to take a decision? Do I need to change my course of action? So that is what a signboard. On a traffic signal, if you have a signal, if the signal is working, immediately we look for the signal and read the signal. What is the color? Whether it is green or amber or red. If it is amber, my action is to apply brakes and stop. If it is red, it is danger, I don't proceed. But whereas it is green, I have the confidence that, okay, I am safe. So when green gives me a safe mentality, whereas red gives me a danger. So this is what, so whatever the sign around us, we always work towards what should be me, what it means to me. So this is what the life, what we are going through. So if you look at the, as Vinodini talked about my, experience of 28 years in this technological world. Basically, when I started, the whole communication was one-on-one. Okay, you have a telephone. The maximum communication is a telephone. You pick up a telephone, the other hand, only one person is going to hear you. There is only one person who is going to be online, you both. There was no telephone, board or, digital telephone exchange or something. It's a one-on-one. In fact, when they started having telephone, I was told that Chennai had only 5 telephones. That is the chief minister, the governor, the corporation mayor, the police chief, and somebody else. So if at all they press, they have only 5 numbers. If they press 1, probably the chief minister would have been given that 1. Probably 2, maybe for the governor or whatever it is. So if you press 2, you are confident that only governor will pick up. So there is no possibility of wrong numbers. Today, the way the things that we get, spam, cold call, all those things, we have so many calls from so many people whom we don't even know where on this globe they are sticking to. So from that point of one-to-one communication, we have come to a point of many-to-many unidentified users. Those one-to-one was very clear identity was there. I know whom I was. I know from which number I am calling, and I know to which number I am calling to. So the person other side receiving also knows who I am. So the identity was very clear. So it was very secure because it's a very closed network. So I don't need to talk, think of security. I know whatever I'm going to speak, only the person whom I intended to speak is going to listen. Even the person who is going to talk to me, only I will know, nobody else will know. If at all there is nobody if anybody in the room, of course they can. But in a closed room, if that other person is there, if I am in a closed room, who can see here, our conversation is only we both. That was the secured environment we were in the beginning. Then later on, we moved on to telex or telegram. So what was telegram? Basically, telegram was just you send a message to some point, but we don't know who is at that point receiving it. Maybe not the person whom really we wanted to send. It is the telegram office assistant who is going to receive the telegram. He is going to read the telegram and he is going to pass the message to the person whom we intended to. So now there is a small breach of information that more than one person is knowing the information what I intended to send it to my receiver. So that was telegram. Then later it moved on to telex, which was basically a hard copy printed long messages. So somebody can print it and circulate it within an office. The telegram was again one-to-one from Lindon Johnson to Mr. X. But whereas when it came to a telex, it was an official communication. So I would send a telex message to HR department from the CEO's desk or from branch office A to head office, HR department. So it is meant to HR department. So the entire HR department will know there was a telex from the head office. So it was one-to-many communication. Even though it was intended for the HR department. But still, the entire HR department head probably would have addressed head HR department. But the telex must have been received by the peon, and the peon might have given to the manager, then the manager to the head. So many people have read probably the message. So a message which was one-to-one now has become one-to-many. Then from telex on, then there came the CC mail, email, where it is an electronic mail. When you talk about electronic mail, of course, it was from one person to the other. But even though it was one person to the other, the option was I can copy as many as possible. So whatever communication I am sending to one person, many other people are also copied on. So they are also informed about what the conversation we both are having. The first sender and the receiver is having. 10 other people are also aware of what the communication is all about, what the information is being shared about. So that is again communication including more people into it. That is what it's all about. Then there came a small technological advancement in CC mail, blind copy, which again, of course, I am talking to somebody, but is that, the person whom I am sending does not know there is somebody else also reading this mail. See, it is something probably we call it as a blind copy for official purposes. But if you term it in other sense, it is a security breach. The receiving person does not know who all are listening to what is told to him. So this is what the email communication started all about. Then again, the next level was groupware. Groupware is something, a platform where, is created, like for example, a topic. Today we have a webinar, a topic is given, a person is delivering the key points about the topic, and then we have a question and answer session where, and now whatever I'm talking, many people, I don't know how many you are listening to, I don't know how many of you are listening from where, what is your background, nothing. All I can hear is what I am speaking. There are many people. So here, then came the groupware. I put up a point and many people can comment on it. Many people can approve of it. Many people can disagree to it. So it was a many people to many people communication. But again, all of them have identification. Even in the previous example, which I told, a blind copy, I know who is listening to my conversation other than the two. So the identification was very clear. Even in a group where an identification, even if somebody is going to comment on, the identification was very clear that this Mr. X from such and such office in such and such position is commenting on it. So a group where also had a many-to-many communication, but again, there was identity clarity. I know the entire group knows who all are talking about, what are the various views of each individual. That was a groupware concept. Then again came the web, World Wide Web. So World Wide Web, I communicate, I put up a site, a website, and I put up my story. Now, I don't know how many people have seen it. Because why I'm putting it on web, that I want more people to know what I'm talking about. I want more people to know about me, my company, my hospital, or my profile, or my research, or my findings, or my thoughts. So I put up a web page where it's open to the world. When I say world, it is not any Tom, Dick, and Harry. World means, web means whoever is on the network, whoever is on the internet. Again, there is an identity. There is an identity for every individual who gets onto the internet. That is what we call it as Internet Protocol, IP. So anybody who is coming online. I remember when I got my first internet access from BSNL, I paid 9,500 rupees in 1995. In 1995, the cost of accessing internet for 1 month is 9,500 rupees for one user access. with the user password. That was the cost. So everybody on the internet has an identity, even though it was a global information exchange, but everybody had an identity. So my communication was very clear, even though it was one to many, I know who all have access to the information. So again, it's all secure. ISP, Internet Service Provider. So any information which can be shared over an internet is guided and guarded by ISP, Internet Service Providers. Mostly in India, Internet Service Provider was Vijay Sanchar Nigam Limited, which was a government entity. Later, I think after a few years, they did on a privatization where Bharti Airtel became an internet service provider, and many other. Even there was a point where if you asked for ISP with an application of 25,000 rupees, you are an internet service provider. So that is when slowly things started opening up in the internet world, where more people came on board, more information was shared with more people, where slowly the identity which was maintained became, not so important. I wouldn't say it was not there. Yes, of course, even today the identity is there, but not to pinpoint about who and where and how. Today, identity is like every telephone, every mobile phone is having an identity, any device. Now we call it as Internet of Things. So there are so many things we can do internet. So whereby we cannot really pinpoint what's happening where and how it's happening, who is using which information, what for what purposes. So from the groupware, from the email, from the web, now earlier, of course, if I want to have an information exchange, I need to have a desktop. And then I need to have a digital information. Even if I have an information, I have to digitize it. And then I need to transfer it digitally. So the information which I exchange is totally digital. So it is governed by the digital security. So the security aspect of it was in some sense secured, so that I never felt it as an insecure place where I am sharing my information. Then later on, what happened? The internet became a mobile-based solution, whereby on your fingertip, you had your information, you had your digital information. Now, a computer was an official property, whereby I don't have my phone number, I don't have my personal information in my desktop. A desktop which I'm using in my office, it will have only official information. If at all, it will have some official, secret, confidential information, but it will not have any of my personal information. So it is the company's responsibility to secure their information. That is where the company's network will had a firewall. That is where the security system for company came into being. I'm just going very quick, getting into jumping into, not going very detail of the advancement of this technological piece. So then companies started securing, because they know that, okay, my laptops, my desktops, which are connected to the internet, has sensible information, where I am sharing sensible information on the internet. So I need to secure. That is where companies installed firewalls. Firewall is nothing but a protective wall. You have a house, you have a door. For the door, you have a lock. So whoever has the key to the lock, opens the lock, enters the door, accesses the house. Now again, if it is, okay, that's one level of security. Then your valuables, you keep it in a cupboard, that again has a lock. So even though I can enter the house, I cannot access your valuables. So that is it. So this is how the firewall is all about. So a company will have a firewall where it will categorize information to category of people. So anybody coming into the company network will have general information. But again, if you want to have a financial information, only certain people will have it. If you have a personal information about the HR department, only certain. So that is where security started coming up. The digital data security things started putting into place, where accessibility of information was secure. Earlier, if I publish on the web, all what is there in the website will be. Today, you log on to your internet, your IT filing, for example. You have your portal. It's a common portal for entire government of India. The finance minister even can access that. But the level of information what you and I can access is different from the level of information what our financial secretary will have access from the state government, what the financial secretary of central government will have access, what the income tax department will have. Different level of access for different people on the same system where all the information is stored in one place, but you will not be able to access everything. That is where access rights. So based on my role, based on my responsibility, I get access. Why? Basically, not because of security, basically based on the role. Now, when the word comes security is, when somebody who is not intended to access the information tries to access, that is where the point of security comes. Access level is something very genuine. Based on the role, I give access to portion A, I don't give access to portion B. If everybody is clear about their roles and responsibility, and everybody has a gentleman agreement with the system that, okay, this is not my cup of tea, so I don't. Whatever I have information. If I don't have information, I request and I get my information. This is then now here there is no point of insecurity comes in. Here it is the level of access. So each one has responsibility, each one have the level of access to deliver what they are supposed to find. So the level of access rights is there. But the point when the security comes in is that when somebody tries to intrude into, it's always human nature. In a table, if you go to a workstation, if there is a table in your friend or somebody, there might be a lot of papers out there. You don't even care what is there on the table. But if there is a seal confidential on a sheet of paper, and if even there is some statement saying that the person reading this paper is an idiot, even still, we will be more interested to see what is written in that paper because of the seal confidential. Unless and until the seal confidential is put there, nobody is wanting to read what is in that. Even if there is a confidential information openly kept on a reception desk, I challenge you, I'll tell you, nobody will tend to look at that. But if the same paper is put on top of it confidential, everybody will start. So that is where the security part comes in. So when we know, okay, there are people who have confidential information, there are personal information, that is when people start trying to intrude. That is where the point of security comes in. That is where the topic, I'm getting into the topic of cyber security. Why we are into the concept of cyber security. Let me tell you, internet is the most open space in the world. People think that, okay, I am sitting in my computer, I am having my own network, I am having my password in my laptop, so I am secure. No, it is not. The moment you are connected, any device, any digital device you have with you, which has your personal identity with your name. For example, my laptop has a name Lindon Johnson. My mobile phone has a name Lindon Johnson. I'm not talking about writing it on a paper and sticking it on the laptop. I'm talking about the digital information. Today, if I open any network or any web, and if I say type Lindon, you could have also listened. Lindon, then it gives my phone number, it gives my address by automatically. I never gave it at all. From where? It is already there in the public domain. Lindon Johnson residing where everything is there in the public domain. Now, of course, if my name and my address and my phone number is available in the public domain, no problem. But now coming into very personal details of us, especially you all being doctors, you all being in the medical field, anybody's medical information is very, very personal. For example, I wouldn't have anybody know my sugar test results of my sugar because that is personal. I don't want anybody to know that my sugar level is this. I don't want anybody to know my cholesterol level is this. I don't want anybody to know my health status because it is very personal. So people like you are dealing with people's personal information, which are very, very important. If you go in very detail into, exchange of information in terms of medical information, government or anybody for that matter, there are very stringent rules and laws and techniques that you need to be aware of. For example, I have developed a mobile application for mother and child care application for Bangalore city, where every pregnant mother, the day the LMP is recorded, the mobile has all the information about the mother throughout her delivery, even after delivery, the vaccination of the child born, and the default vaccine, missed vaccine, all those information, the risk factors of the pregnant mother from the previous. These are a very sensitive information. It can never be shared at the public domain. But we use digital technology to record this information from the mobile phones of the health worker at the last mile. So the security of that information, the mobile phone is of some Asha worker or some medical worker, whereby the mobile phone is going to be left in the table of the house of the worker. There might be some kid who might access the telephone, and if they by mistake open the application, they will have access to probably 150 mothers' information. So what do? We take utmost care, except the Asha worker himself or herself, the app will not open. Why? Security of information of the mothers, which is health. So being a health worker, when I am more particular about the health information of my patients or people whom I give health services, then it also implies me that my health information, and not only my health information, more than that, other information is also has to be secure, because that is my identity. If somebody knows that I am my sugar level is high, they can refer me not only as Lindon Johnson, they have an additional reference to give me a new identity. You got my point? Why personal information is more important in terms of linking it to identity. That is where information security is very important. That too, personal information security is very important. And that too, if you talk about the current day technologies available in the digital world for information exchange is numerous, you name it. But even though there are so many technologies, the more the technological advancements comes in, the more you are vulnerable. For example, earlier, when you have your telephone at your house, right? Any phone call pertaining to your information, it will only come into your house. Today, your mobile phone, right? When there is a call, when it was a landline, any personal call we can easily attend because we are in a secure place. I can start conversing, continue to attend the call and continue the conversation. But today, when I am in a car or when I am on the road, if there is a call, first thing we look for the person whom is calling. Okay, we know this person, I want to pick up the call, yes. And the moment you picked up the call, if the conversation was on a normal topic, you continue to talk. If the conversation is of some sensitive topic, what would you say immediately? You say, can we talk later? Now I am outside. I will call you when I am at home. Why? Because the communication, what you have want to happen, don't want to happen because of your environment, because of the location, situation where you are in. That's again a security measure that we are taking ourselves, knowingly or unknowingly, because it was a voice communication. Okay, we know whatever I am going to speak, it is not only the person who has called me is going to hear, somebody who is on my shoulder is also going to listen too. That is where I put up a wall. I take a decision to protect my communication and say to the other person, can we talk later after I get home? Why? That is where my place is secure. That is where my situation becomes secure, so I can make any conversation. Now, this is the same concept we need to put it to when you talk about cyber security. Okay, when I'm going to communicate. Now I'm going to pass on certain digital information into the cyber space, or I'm going to access certain information from the cyberspace. Now I need to know, is there anyone listening to this information transfer? Is there anybody accessing or intruding this? Because the other person, the example which I quoted, the other person is going to talk over the phone. And if our speaker is so loud, the other person who is sitting next to it also will hear in his ears the voice of the person who is talking. But that voice message was not intended to the person who is sitting on my shoulder. So that is a breach. So any digital information shared on the internet or through any digital device, if it is accessible or if it is overheard or if it can be altered or disturbed, that is security breach. That is where cyber security comes in. That is where we have to be very careful in terms of using digital technology in terms of sharing information. When I say sharing, it is both ways. You putting your information or sending or sharing information to others, at the same time, you accessing somebody else's information using digital technology. For example, you as a doctor, you have access to the hospital records. For you to deliver your responsibility as a doctor in treating the patient. So for example, your hospital system is accessible to you. You have a username and a password. So you have all rights. You have the access to access the system. But if you are going to access from the device provided by the hospital in your office, it is secure because hospital takes care of information shared within their network, that it is not listened by others, so information is not going to be breached. Okay, now the same information, let's take, you are accessing through your mobile device, where the hospital is given access to you to access the hospital patient's information. Now, then your device also has to be secure, that when you communicate with the hospital the system, that your device is not listened digitally. That means when you access a record of patient A, it should be only accessible to you for your use. There should not be somebody who should have access for that information, which can be, I'm not saying misused, of no use. That information is of no use to him. Maybe for as a doctor, you have a medical record of your patient, which is useful for you to do your diagnosis for treatment. But if the same information goes to somebody, is of no use at the first instance. Then later, based on the attitude of the person, that no use information becomes a misused information. That is where security comes in. That is where cyber security comes in. I think, hope you understand what I am talking about in terms of cyber security. in terms of security of digital information. Then getting into the next level, when I say cyber security, now we are talking about your role as an individual, as a doctor. Now, when you come out of a hospital, you as a personality, you are a responsible, might be a father, might be a son, might be a daughter. You are a part of a society and you have more personal information of your own self. Example, your personal bank account, your financial information, your Aadhaar card, or to be very specific, your thumb impression. Earlier, only illiterate use thumb impression for signing. Today, literate also has become illiterate in using thumb impression for authentication. So today there is no literate or illiterate in using thumb impression. Today, the technological advancement has made it all. Now, even the image of your thumb, which you use it on a very convenient way. Earlier, your mobile phones had patterns, then you had your PIN number, then came the fingerprint sensor. It's very easy. Just so what we thought, okay, if I touch my phone on a particular place, I'm able to open. It is a ease of operation. See, all these things basically intrudes in our life by ease of operation. Let me tell you one simple example. Using your credit card. Earlier, credit card, you just go, you swipe it, you come. Then people thought, okay, so they introduced a PIN. So you have to put a PIN so that your credit card gets authenticated for your purchase. Then people thought, oh, every time, I have to put a PIN. And in this COVID situation, I don't want to touch unwanted things where I might get contacted with COVID. So we wanted contactless. So what happened? The technology came in of wireless authentication. That means you don't need to put a PIN, you don't need to insert it, you just tap it. You just tap it. So you just make a payment. If the card is got near the machine, your money is gone. Now, in a shop, if you are aware of there is some card coming in near your card, getting authenticated, your money is going fine. But if you have your purse in your wallet, your card in your wallet, and somebody brings the card near you without you knowing 2,000 rupees or something is taken from you, this is what a personal security breach. Now, why does this wireless card came in? For ease of operation. But ease of operation comes always with a cost and security. That is where we have to strike a balance between what is the ease and what is the needed. So now people are very clear. Now they say, no. Now the banks are also has given that you have a wireless card. If you want, you use wireless. If you don't want, you can deactivate. That is where security. So similarly, not only your credit card, now your mobile device has all your internet banking. Now your password. If your password is compromised, your bank account is compromised. So somebody need not come into your home, open your locker, open your safety locker and take your passbook or checkbook, sign it, nothing. Sitting somewhere, digitally accessing your digital information becomes insecure. So that is where your cyber security comes into parcel of your life. Today, somebody, when you use Google, we think Google Map is very convenient. Okay, if I want to come to the Balaji Medical College, I put Google. Google tells me how fast I can go with the less traffic jam. Even if it is 2 or 5 kilometers more, I will still be there. I'm very happy. But you know something, Google is tracing your path. Google is tracing everything that you do. For us, it's convenience. All of us, when Gmail came in, when Yahoo came in, everybody said it's free. Oh my goodness. Oh, if it was an official mail, we have to put a request. And not everybody had email. In fact, when I started, when email came into my organization, I was the first person to have email address in my whole organization. The entire organization, World Vision, only one person, me, was having the email. Oh my goodness. To get an email for somebody in the office was a great one. Then Yahoo came in, free email. Everybody went in and registered. Then Gmail, free Gmail. Oh my goodness. But people didn't know that all what you are sharing is with somebody. It's not you alone. If it was a paper mail, you write it in an inland letter, you post it, the letter is with me only. Whatever was written in that letter, I know it. The person who wrote it know it, nobody else. Later, Xerox came in, which gave a threat to that any letter I write, if somebody has a Xerox copy, my information is breached. Then the same thing next came in when that letter is digitized as a photograph. Now the sharing of that is more, in a larger scale, where it goes viral everywhere. So one statement which I wrote in my desk, sitting in my desk with a paper and a pen, now has gone globally, which I never intended to go globally. Without my intention, things have happened. My information. See, that is what is cyber, leak is all about. Without you knowing, without you wanting it at all, things. So that is where the whole concept of cyber security comes in. I think the 1 hour was very, very small, very limited to talk about this big, topic. But I think I have driven some point in you all to understand what it means about cyber. It is not about, okay, cyber means internet. Oh, I don't use internet. I in fact even don't know to use it. That's what many people. I have seen many people, tell me, oh, Lindon, no problem, Lindon. I don't use all these things, Lindon. I don't go to all these things. I don't go to these sites. I don't go. Even today, people, when we talk about mobile apps being installed, oh, no, I don't install any mobile app. I just use my phone. You know something? The time you bought your phone and you registered, your device is already connected to the group. Maybe mentally you are not connected, but physically, digitally, you are already connected. And your information is already available in the moment you say, very convenient, nowadays we keep changing our telephones. We keep changing our telephone very often. Okay, new model comes in, we check. What we do, today, we don't know even a single telephone number. To be very frank, I myself don't know my younger son's telephone number. My elder son number I know because it's a fancy number, and my wife's number I know. Apart from that, I don't know anything at all. But earlier when I was in my IT support administrator, I knew hundreds of telephone numbers by heart. By heart. Now, technology has taken our efficiency in one sense. And not only one sense, many sense. So what we do, we have all our telephone numbers in the phone. Earlier, I had a telephone directory where I hardly 25 numbers. Today, my contact list, thousands. No, if I am going to change my telephone, I don't have time to copy every telephone number from that phone to this phone. No, we don't. So we want to have a ease. What do? We create a Google account, we sync it to Google, then we download in this phone. But we forget that all the contacts of you or me is with Google. So Google knows who are Lindon's friends. And very conveniently, we have, for our identification, we give some names, which helps somebody else also to identify that. Friend of Lindon, friend, driver, bank manager, all those prefix, because there will be 10 Kumar. A Kumar of driver will be there, a Kumar of financial consultant will be there. Okay, Kumar Finance. Then the contact person who has access by, Kumar is Lindon's consultant, finance consultant. So he can make a phone call to Kumar saying, Lindon sir only gave your telephone to ask of these information. Simple. You don't need to have a rocket sign to make a phone call. You yourself have created that identity to bring in a breach into your personal security. So these are some of the very basics I have touched upon, even though the topic talked about 5G. Okay, before getting into 5G, there are a lot of things which we don't even know about 1G or 2G. So cyber security means that it is my own security in the cyberspace. When I say cyberspace, you don't need to go to a digital center to be in a cyberspace. As long as you have a GSM connected telephone with you in your pocket, you are already in the cyberspace. You are already into it. So that is what is all about. I think a very brief introduction, because morning I talked to Vinodini about it. So I've not talked about a great technology. I've talked about very basic principles that you as doctors who are especially dealing with digital information of patients' details, which are very sensitive. So this is just a brief introduction I have given. Probably you can think more about it. You can Google it about various things on various, words which I used in this address. You can use those words and search in Google. You will have a number of information. Cyber security cannot be just spoken in 1 or 2 minutes or in 1 hour. So I've just given a base to build your thinking on what it means to be a person using digital technology today. I think by this I will close, because I think there are some questions which have come up. So probably there is only 8 minutes left for time of question, if at all there is anything. And probably if you have any questions, you can write it down to your post coordinator by a way of mail or whatever it is. If there is any specific questions which you really want to know in terms of other things, I'll be happy to reply to you through your course coordinator. Over to Dr. I forgot your name, Doctor.
Dr. Archana.
Oh, Dr. Archana. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
Go to Dr. Archana. If there is any questions, can.
Thank you, sir, for your very informative talk. You outlined very clearly the progress and advancement of technology and how it will affect our security systems. The participants, do you have any questions? You can post it in Q&A section. Any questions from the participants? No questions, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us with us today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Archana. Thank you, Vinodini.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.